there, Simon from simonwoods.com. Life beyond Malbec in Argentina. Well, I've got to do an article for somebody about that, and I've been sent some wines and thought might as well taste them with you lovely people. First one I've got is Bonarda. Now, Bonarda is a grape which originated in Italy. It may or may not be the same as the Italian grape Croatina, and I think there's actually some debate about whether it's the same as Charbono in California. But anyway, this one is from the Altos Los Hormigas winery, and this one's called Colonia Las Liebres, the colony of the hares, which is why there's some nice leaping big bunnies on there. And well, let's give it a whirl. Well, it's Italian in origins, and there is certainly like what I call an Italianity, a savoury quality, along with this cherry-like fruit that jumps out of the glass here at you, jumps like a hare. That's my hare impersonation. Well, it's not as jump out of the glassy as Malbec can be. Altos Los Hormigas make a terrific unoaked Malbec, or ever so lightly oaked Malbec, that puts the accent on fragrance and freshness. There's a bit of both of those here, maybe not as much of either, but it feels like it's going to be a warm-hearted wine. Smells like it's going to be good, stew-friendly. You get tomatoey dishes, Mediterranean tomato heavy with the olive oil and a bit of garlic in there too. Well, it's Italian in origin, and it's very much a European structured wine. What I mean by that is sometimes in non-European countries, it almost feels like they polish the wines just that little bit too much to make them too soft, too rounded, and they make them easy to drink. But I like a bit of chewiness, I like a bit of grip and grunt in my wines, and this has got them. Yes, it's got this nice, gentle red berry and plum fruit. But then it's got what I call ashy tannins. If you imagine I don't know, you've seen a coal fire or a wood fire the morning after, and there's that smell that comes up off the old ash. A bit of that character, and yeah, definite food wine. I'd love to have a big plate of tomatoey, garlicky sauce and lots of spaghetti and lots of parmesan on there. I think I would probably drink quite a bit of that. Might have another sip. Tasty. Let's see whether the next two are tasty, because they're both from the same company. They're from Bodegas Au Fournier, which is started by a Spanish guy called Jose Manuel Ortega, and ex-banking, I don't know if he still does any banking, opened a winery in Argentina. And then you almost think he should open one in Spain, then open one in Argentina, but he did it the other way around. Opened Au Fournier in Argentina, in the Uco Valley, and then opened one in Ribera del Duero back in Spain, and now he's got a place in Chile, and all three of them are making pretty decent wines. So this is Urban Uco. What vintage are we on? 2009 Tempranillo, and it's got all about the harvest. You need to know, this is what you need on the back label, hand-picked in 18 kilogram boxes. Now that tells you a lot about the wine, doesn't it? Yeah, hey, let's taste it. Or smell it first. Now, Tempranillo is the main grape in Rioja, but it's also the main grape in Ribera del Duero, and it's Ribera del Duero that this has more of the echoes of, because it feels like you can feel the warmth and the heat here. The Uco Valley, it is one of the cooler bits of central Mendoza. Well, not central, but of Mendoza. But yeah, you've got a feel here that it feels like warm days, cold nights. So there's quite a lot of sunshine on the grapes, and then the nights go that little bit cool. So it feels like it's going to be ever so slightly raisiny. There's that slightly burnt fruit character, but fresh with it. And I think you could very happily slip that into a row of Ribera del Dueros and not be able to tell it apart. It's got this juicy, rich fruit with this baked, slightly burnt edge. But the finish you're left with, yes, it doesn't finish jammy. It finishes, there's that little bit of freshness to keep you going. It's been in oak for a little time, but the oak isn't really adding any flavours to the wine. Maybe it's adding a little bit of structure, but the wine's not without structure, not without tannin, so left with a chewiness in my mouth. And I think this is one of the entry levels to the Au Fournier range, but feels like a pretty serious wine. Yeah, pretty nice. And now we're on to their upper tier of wines. They do these Crux wines. There's Alpha Crux and this is Beta Crux. And Alpha Crux, I think, is the top level. They do a blend with Tempranillo and Malbec, and I think they do a Syrah as well. Beta Crux. This one is 60% Tempranillo, 40% Malbec, and we are on 2006 vintage, so quite a bit older. Let's see whether age has mellowed it or brought out its faults. Well, just smelling that, it still feels like a desperately young wine. It feels tight, dark fruit, but maybe on that black cherries, red currants, and then those black currants and blackberries. Those are the things that come out, but with this spice as well. And those there's this this vanilla edge, which may or may not be from, because Tempranillo in Spain, when it's you make Rioja, you always think of vanilla. And is it to do with the barrels? Sometimes I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually to do with the variety in the soil, because when you find the unoaked ones and it's still got that same character, then you think, not necessarily the barrels. Then the Malbec's chipping in with a bit of structure, bit of this violet, and more on that blackberry and plum character. Smells, as I say, intense but very young. There's a lovely savoury meatiness about it. Yes, it's still on the young side, but the fruit started to relax, and you don't feel like there's any hard edges that absolutely need to be resolved. I would certainly hang on to it for another couple of years, or if you're going to have it now, slosh it in a decanter and give it a couple of hours open. But what's good about it, what's really good about it, is there's this joyful juiciness, and but it's not over the top, ripe and in your face. There's this juicy fruit to start with, and then you get these savoury, more minerally, the more the fragrant characters coming through to clean up the finish. Lots of richness and spice, and but with this finish that makes you think, steak, bring me steak, please. Also nice roast lamb. On the strength of these three, yes, plenty of life beyond Malbec in Argentina, and even though that last one was 40% Malbec and probably was my favourite of the three, the other two weren't half bad at all. See you soon.